Welcome to the Right Hand Drive Guys podcast, the show for guys who like right-hand drives. We're your hosts. I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
Yo.
And make sure to follow us on all the socials, at RHDGUIS. DM us with any of the questions. We're glad to help you out anytime. And check out the merch if you want, RHDGUIS.com. We hope you enjoy episode 56. All right. What are we going to get into today? Trouble.
Yes, a bunch of trouble. No,
Yeah.
We're going to get into one of everyone's favorite cars, right? The R34
GTR.
GTR.
Yeah,
and,
the GDR. And how you can get one right now, right?
How you can get it.
How you can get one right now. And, either work with somebody or do it yourself.
Yeah.
So Aaron's just going to kind of break down, everybody knows the R34, right? Obviously, it's become this huge, crazy icon of the Japanese sports cars.
Yes,
right?
100%. You can't think about Japanese sports cars without thinking about the R34.
And it's been that way for a long, long time now, really.
Yeah, since they came out, I imagine.
25 years,
yeah.
In that sense. So Aaron's going to spit a few just little facts about the 34 just to bring some people up to speed if they have been living under a rock or something like that.
Yeah. The R34 GTR is the final rendition of one of the best Japanese sports cars, as we said. It comes with the RB26 DETT, TT meaning twin turbo. It's had the same RB since, the R32. Little changes, little refinements in the engine.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much, though. It's still pretty much the same. The 34 did get a 6-speed Getrag transmission, which that's a pretty big change from the other models. It's the same 6-speed that came in the Toyota Supra.
Yeah.
And
So they're pretty tough.
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this is this final form. This is the final rendition. So they figured it all out at this point.
Right. And with that, right, so it was like the final edition, and something we kind of talked about in the past was the R32 had like a V-spec and an N1, right?
Right.
And the R33, they came out with the V-spec, the 400R, and then, of course, the LM.
Yeah.
But, dude, once they hit the 34s, they're like V-spec, V-spec 2, M-spec, like all these different things, Z-tune, all of these different iterations, and it felt like it was because of what you're saying. It was like the final hurrah, and so we're going to
throwing it all.
Yeah, literally anything that would stick, which with this car, everything stuck for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And especially in 24, shoot, you can hardly get it off the wall without giving your kids to get it,
It's insane. So, yeah, I mean, they're awesome cars. They look modern to this day. Like, you could put that car in on a car lot next to brand new cars, and it wouldn't be out of place.
Yeah.
So it's got a real timeless design, and yeah, I mean, you can't beat it. You can't beat
Which
a 34
is hard to
GTR.
say about a 25-year-old car. Like most 25-year-old cars, you're not saying that was a timeless design.
Right. There's only a few out there, like this one, the FDRX7's another,
Right.
I feel like. Just those classic, just timeless. That's the only word I can think of.
Yeah. So yeah, as he was saying, the 34, of course, all-wheel drive. If you know anything about GTRs, it's a GTR +1 or +2.
Right.
So, the point of this episode is kind of to give you the route to figure out how to procure your own R34 GTR if you're in the market, right?
Right.
And we have some decent experience with that. Obviously, I have an R34 GTR, and Aaron went through the process with me of finding that, and then we found more cars after that. And so we kind of got a good handle on the options that you have right now today to get your 34.
Yep.
So let's start with importer. And, if you listen to some of our earlier episodes, some of this will kind of ring a bell, but we figured for the new guys, we might as well just really give it to them. And we've met a few new people since, and so it's kind of changed our vision of it.
Yeah, it's got some new knowledge.
Yeah. So an importer, what's an importer?
An importer would be stateside, and they're the ones that receive a car that they might have sourced from overseas.
Mm-hmm.
So they are buying the car overseas, shipping it over, doing their thing, getting their premium, and putting it for sale.
So they're like a they're like a U.S. right-hand drive dealer, kind of, right?
Correct, yeah.
Assuming that they're holding stock.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, they're the ones that bring the car in. You don't have to deal with any type of port clearing or nothing. You know, it's just like going down the street to the used car dealership, giving them some cash, taking home a car.
Yeah. So, so here's the thing: the importer, of course, saves you a bunch of hassle, right?
Yeah.
Like, which we'll go over in a few. But they also are a middleman, and
Correct.
so the thing about a middleman, right? The middleman always needs to make his money, and I am not trying to be negative or put down any of these guys that we're going to recommend.
Yeah, no.
But the middleman has to make his money, or else there's no business for the middleman there.
Right.
So you need to think about it in regards of you get to go walk in there and you get to look at these cars. I don't know what their policies are. You might be able to test drive one.
Right.
But you have to pay for that in the price of the car, right? Because they've PDI'd it. They've done everything. Hopefully, if they're a good importer, they've changed the oil, they've checked everything, So you got to pay for that.
Right.
And if you're okay with that, and if you aren't a patient type of person and you want the car now, I say go for the importer.
100%, dude. Pay that little bit of importer tax, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because, you're not having to go to Japan.
Right.
You're not having to wait for your car on the boat. You're not having to go to the port to pick it up. You're not having to do all these extra steps that can be stressful to some people.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
if it's not your game, or if you're not into anything like that, yeah, I could see how that'd be very stressful, because, which we'll go through in a minute, that process. But yes, this is more of a stress-free, because you can see the car in person, you can more than likely test drive it, you can feel it out. So the importers that I recommend, I have gone through a few here, but who I would recommend would be Top Rank International, who is the California base of Top Rank.
Yep.
And so you're going to be able to preview what they have or what they can get you by also looking on their global website.
right.
So, and Top Rank is interesting because a lot of people or a lot of businesses don't have a Japan and a U.S. base.
Right.
So, but Top Rank is different, which we'll get into later. And then also I recommend RevHard. And RevHard, I met these guys in Japan, and they were super stand-up guys. They have done a few little things for me, even though I never bought a car from them.
Yeah.
So, and they're based in Colorado, and they have stock there. They have a lot of people who can vouch for them, especially in that area. So I would check them out, Top Rank and RevHard, for your importers. Yeah. There are plenty, and I'm not saying that the other ones aren't good. These are just my personal suggestions based on what I've observed.
Right.
So then when you get over to the exporting side, right? So what's an exporter?
Exporter is going to be in Japan, right? And they will deal with sourcing a car and getting it to the boat for you. Simply put, they'll go to all the dealerships, they'll go to the auction, they'll do all that for you, unless you want to do it yourself. I'm sure, you could do that. But the exporter will deal with, handling everything on the Japan side, getting it on the boat, storage, things like that, and then shipping it over here. But once it's on the boat, kind of like your situation with the 34 GTT, it was kind of on you, right?
Yes. So exactly that. So pretty much so when you get the exporter, right, like Aaron said, they handle everything in Japan. They'll get you ready. They'll get the export certificate, everything like that done. And so let's back it up a little bit. So if you want to work with an exporter, of course, you got two options. You shop online, or you should go to Japan and shop. So, of course, a lot of people, and, I get these DMs all the time, so keep them coming. I'll continue to reassure you that if you work with the right exporter, you can absolutely shop online.
Yeah.
You can absolutely shop online if you work with the right exporter. And
100%.
so I personally have purchased multiple cars sight unseen from Japan from reputable exporters because these people take pride, right?
Yeah.
And
Reputable
so,
is the key word.
Yes. And so when we're talking about the importer and the middleman and the importer really finding cars that they're going to be able to make the biggest spread on, right? And I'm not saying that exporters don't, but exporters, when they're okay, if they have it in stock, okay, there's a predetermined price, right? Just like any dealer. When you have them look for a car from you, that's when you can really start saving some money because there is just a fee for looking at these cars. There is not like what the invoice from whoever the car is bought from is what you pay plus their fee, right? So now at this point, it's almost like a hack because instead of just taking what they have, you say, I would like to find this. They find you this, you pay them their X amount fee, and it's just like you being there buying it. So there is no middleman fee. However, you are buying a car with nobody looking it over beyond a inspection that they provide, right? But that doesn't go in super deep. That makes sure there's no scratches, no dents, the motor's running healthy, you know, that type of thing.
No crazy rust.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Pretty much it'll pass the shucking.
Right. And so when we talk about an exporter, there are a few options, but you just got to realize you're probably going to pay a little less because you're not paying for all of those services that an importer is going to give you.
Right.
And an importer does need to make the max amount because they've done all this work to get the car there.
And they've been sitting on, that car for months probably. So
trying
that's just
to get
money
it.
sitting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand it, but
it's all in your how patient you can be and how much money you have to spend, right?
Right.
And to each their own. So my biggest benefit, I would say, personally, because I bought cars there, I have an R34 in Japan right now. I love and this has created so many memories for Aaron and I. Yeah. And then, I got to have the experience with my daughter. And dude, driving your car in Japan is the most rewarding thing. And this is just my personal opinion, the most rewarding experience that you can have with these cars.
Yes.
It really is because it's full circle, right? Like when we were growing up and we're seeing these cars, they're always in Japan. It was always on the toge. It was always on these tracks. It was
always in the tunnels.
Always in the tunnels,
Smoky.
dude. Right. And so, there's one thing to owning that car and mobbing it around your hood or whatever, right? But there's another whole piece to owning this car, having it legally registered in Japan, and then putting thousands of kilometers on the car on Japanese roads. Like I can't.
And just seeing all the sights.
Yeah. In your car, right? Taking the pictures with your car in the background of these, and it's just, it really is a crazy thing. And I understand not everybody can afford that. Not everybody has the patience, right. To have their car. Like my car can't even come to the U.S. until December of 25.
Right.
I'm glad. Keep it there because that gives me more motivation. Before I had a car there, of course, I love Japan. I wanted to visit Japan. But once I had the car there and we took our first trip, it was like, okay, when am I coming back? Before you even get on the plane, when you're on the train to the airport, you're like, okay, so how am I going to work this out? Because just those in-depth experiences that you can have, like with that car over there, is just... Like, there's things we never, ever would have been able to accomplish and, live without that. So, if you want to drive your car, the exporters that we recommend would be Top Rank Global, of course. They have hooked me and, a lot of our friends up with these registrations and these opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention... What we just experienced was a track day at Fuji that was private, held just by them, and they had all kinds of legends there that, we never would have...
Insane.
Yeah, never would have been around, never would have met. So definitely recommend Top Rank for that. And then what we found out was our buddy Jesse, he has a 34 from Space Auto, and they also register it for you.
Yeah.
So if Top Rank maybe doesn't have a car you want or whatever the case may be, Space Auto apparently will still do that for you.
I think they also worked with Amelia Hartford.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Getting her.
Yeah, they did.
I
They
saw
just
some
got
pics of
her
that.
one. Yeah. So, okay. So let's just say you still want to take the exporting route, but you're not really trying to pony up for this registration and wait for the car.
Right. You just want to get it here, right?
Yeah, totally understandable. Totally understandable. So we 100% recommend Trevor King from Kizo International. He is a super trustworthy and super stand-up guy. You can find him on Instagram, Trevor Kizo.
Yeah.
And
that dude, does it
right.
right.
For somebody who's not this like huge company that has this huge bankroll and he really takes pride in what he does. He's going to personally PDI your car to make sure that it's all set to go on the boat. All of that. I mean,
definitely reputable.
Yeah, for sure.
with him.
And I've sent handfuls of guys to him that have bought cars from him, and everybody says the same thing. So, and then also, Stacked Exports is also a good, reputable exporter that strictly does exporting. There's no registration or anything like that.
Yeah.
And, I would recommend them if, whatever, Trevor can't find what you need.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes through importers versus exporters. Do your due diligence, figure out what it is you want and when you want it, and then take the appropriate route there.
Yeah. If it's too good to be true, maybe it
might,
is.
Especially in 2024.
Yeah.
If it's
It
too
might
good to be
be. So
true,
just
it
remember
probably
that.
is. And so beyond that, so when Aaron was talking about how I kind of had to do a lot of the work after Trevor shipped it. So you do have two options there.
Yeah.
And this is something I didn't realize, but I'm glad I didn't realize because I feel like a lot of times you need to take the hard route to really learn. And we wouldn't have this knowledge if I hadn't taken the quote-unquote hard route, right?
Right.
So something you can do here is work with an importer. I don't know if I'm sure you've heard of it, but I don't know if you realize that. So you can work with an importer. The importer will take from Trevor and do the rest of the process.
Yeah.
Now, you do have to pay a fee to the importer, right?
Right.
And not all importers do this, but a lot of them will because it's just another little thing that they're already doing that they can make a few bucks on.
Right. I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes sense.
And so they handle the broker, they handle all of that type of thing, and then at that point, it gets shipped to their location. You can pick it up from them. So, maybe you didn't buy the car from them, but you're still supporting them.
Right.
I personally, again, took the hard route. Didn't really want to sacrifice any more money because, it's precious, right?
Yeah.
So I went the self-importation process. And so it's really not as hard as it sounds, right? You pretty much hit up Becky at Sound Brokerage or whoever the broker you want to be. She pretty much walks you through it. You fill out DOT paperwork, EPA paperwork, the bill of lading and the certificate of export, all of these different paperworks you have to file, right? She kind of walks you through it. And, she gets the clearance for the port, everything, right? So you work with her. I can't remember what the fee was total. I think total I paid $1,500 or something like that.
Yeah.
And she gets it to the port for you via paperwork and phone calls, right?
Right.
So by the time the boat lands in your port, she's got everything ready, cleared, good to go. You go into port, right? And so this is what an importer would do for you. They would have handled all that without the broker, and they would have handled this next part, which is picking it up at the port.
Yep.
Picking it up at the port your first time is kind of a little nerve-wracking. Because you don't know, right? Of course you want to think, you just stroll up there and say, hey, I'm picking up my GTR.
Yeah, there it is over there.
Yeah. And they're just going to be like, yes, sir, here's the red carpet. Hell no, dude, especially not in New York, dude.
No way, dude.
It's rough. It's rough. They deal with who knows how many people a day. And they just want you out of their face, right? They just want you, get your piece of junk Nissan and get out of here, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it's not that bad. It's just, you're not sure what to expect. Expect the worst and just come prepared.
Yeah.
Definitely bring your reflective vest because they're not going to let you in the gate without the reflective vest.
And also understand that your buddy's not going to be able to go back there with you.
And they're going to tell you that straight up. He's not going nowhere, they said.
Yeah.
We're like, wait, what? Like, no, like he's going to, and they're like, no, he's going to stay right here. And we're like, okay.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Like, and you know, you get these cars from Japan and they've been on the boat for who knows how long, right?
Yeah.
The batteries are dead. Like, and you're just going in there like, you know it's not going to start.
Right.
Sure enough, it didn't start. So I got to run back, have Aaron go to the truck, get the jumper, got to go run back. Like, you know, so it's kind of a hassle. But once you get it on the trailer and like you're headed back home, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. And I did this myself, you know.
It's just like the satisfaction of that.
Yeah, for sure. It's an accomplishment. And then beyond that, you're the one towing it home. So you know that it's all good in that sense. It's not getting any door dings or whatever. But you can ship container or ro-ro. Container is in a container, obviously, sometimes alone, sometimes with other stuff, depending on your setup. Yeah. Or ro-ro means roll on, roll off, which there are full ro-ro ships. And if you see a ship carrying a car and there's no containers on top, that means it's ro-ro. And so they're literally parking garages in the ship. And
holy cow.
Yeah, and they just roll them on, roll them off, roll them on, roll them off.
That's a lot of cars.
Yeah, no, it is. I saw a video of them loading one, and it seems insane how many cars can fit on these ships.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, you know, your self-importation process, right? That gets you from, you know, the boat in Japan to your garage. Again, you can work with an importer, but it's all in what you want to spend. So once you get it off the boat, right, you get back home. Well, how did you even get it on the boat and get it back home? Did you have the cash up front? Can you finance these?
Right,
like, what's the deal? Like, do you know? Can you finance these?
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely get personal loans for these cars. A lot of people do it. SoFi is one of them.
SoFi, yes.
Lightstream is another one that I see a lot.
Right.
You can probably just go to your bank.
Go to your bank. Yeah, that's what I was going to say is,
you know, they might look at you kind of funny and be like, why do you want all this money?
Why do you want a high interest rate loan for this car?
Oh,
like,
no, this is our auto loans right here.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like, no.
Then you show them the VIN and they're like, oh, yeah, so did you want a personal loan? Yeah, because they're not financing a 34 GTR. And, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if there did become some financing options that were like targeted towards these cars, because that would be somewhat smart as long as you did your due diligence on who's borrowing the money, of course. But yeah, I feel like some options might come up as these continue to come over.
Right.
And then of course you can ask your buddy, hey, can I borrow $150,000? And he's either going to say no or probably no.
So what, let's say you have the cash, right? What, do you just pack it up in a box and ship it over to Japan to pay for the car? How does that work?
That's what I did. Yeah. No. So you have to go to your bank and wire the money, and it's generally in 2 to 3 payments, like depending on your situation with your exporter. But yeah, you want to wire the money. Of course, the bank people don't really want to let you, right? Like they have to, but like they're like, yo, just keep it here. Like, and you're like, no, I want to send it. So, yeah.
Trying to send it.
Right, exactly. Like, I'm trying to get this. Oh, are you sure you don't want to put that in a CD in a Roth IRA? No, I want to put it in a friggin' R34 GTR. Let's go, dude. Like,
they're like, a what?
Yeah, so, you know, and so, okay, let's say you get some sort of financing or you got the cash to spend. Sweet. You're in good shape now. But you get it home like we talked about, and you got to insure it now. Right. And as if we don't have enough little issues, right, with like purchasing this car. Now you got to figure out how to insure it.
Yeah.
Okay. And insure it to make sure that whether you paid $100, $150, or $350, that you are getting the total value of that car and nothing less, because you paid that money. You need to make sure that you're getting it.
You're going to be insured for it. Yeah. If anything happens to it, dude, you don't want to be stuck upside down, you know, not getting taken care of.
Yeah, that would be like...
That'd be worse than obviously losing the car, is losing it and not having any sort
anything.
of nothing, right?
Yeah, that would be pretty horrible, and it does happen. You see videos, pictures of these cars. They do some old lady T-bones you at an intersection. Some
Yeah.
dude trying to race you, pit maneuvers you, whatever it is, right? So we recommend, because obviously both of us have had to get total value insurance. I think, who do you have?
I have Haggerty.
Yeah, he has Haggerty. You've had good experience?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, they even sent me out a letter saying, "Hey, we realized the value of your car went up. Would you like to increase your value?
Yeah, of
Would you
course,
like to
yeah.
increase your policy?" Like,
Yeah, you want to
so
pay some more, buddy?
they are a collector car insurance, and I think they do a great job. And initially I'd went to Allstate, who I have my regular car insurance through, and they wouldn't even touch it. They were like,
Yeah.
"No, this is what's considered a gray market car, and we're not allowed to do anything."
Wow. That's wild,
So,
right?
yeah.
So I kind of same thing, right? I have USAA, and I back in the day I could register my right-hand drive car with them or insure it, same with Geico, right? But now these things have changed. And so I hit up USAA, and they're like, "Actually, we work with American Collectors Insurance for cars like this." No problem. Hit up American Collectors, decent rate. They were willing to cover the vehicle pretty much to whatever I thought it was worth because of the modifications. And I've been paying them ever since. And luckily, they haven't had to pay out for me. So
yeah. One thing I have noticed about some of these like collector car insurances is that your driving record has to be on point.
yeah,
So like if you've had a suspended license in the past 6 months and reckless driving tickets and
they don't
all
want to
these
mess
crazy
with you
things, they're not going to touch you. Like
because that's a liability, right?
100%. So just keep that in mind. And if you do get through to one, it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
It's pretty reasonable. The
If you have
prices,
good-
if you have a good
yeah.
record, but if you don't have a good record, good luck getting insurance. And if
Yeah.
you do, it's going to cost you through the nose.
So yeah, for this S14 and my 33 GTR, it's about $1,000 a year.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah. So, all right, and also just throw it out there. If you have State Farm, they do offer full value insurance.
Hit
So
up Jake.
yeah, if you got Jake out there, hit him up. And so yeah, these are some pretty available ways to finance and insure these type of cars. And I mean, yeah, it may not just be 2 clicks of a button and an online approval, but like, you got to do a little work. So this is, how you could import or export your 34 GTR, and who to use as a broker, finance and insurance. Now the part that is maybe the tougher pill to swallow. We're going to do a little market research for you real quick, and we're just going to tell you, we're each going to throw at you one Japanese car, R34 GTR, and one American-landed R34 GTR, and just kind of let that resonate with you on the current market and the pricing and whether this is something you really want to go after, or if maybe an earlier 33 or 32 GTR would be more in your price range, or hell, go get an S15 Sylvia.
Yeah.
Because those are just, maybe not just as dope, but just as awesome in that time period.
Oh, yeah.
So you go ahead, start it up. Let me know what you found in the U.S. or no, in Japan first.
Japan. I'm going to do high end. So on GoNet, GOO net, very popular Japanese website for finding these cars. It's like pretty much a dealer search throughout Japan. Here I got, I believe, where is the year? I believe it's a note. Yes, it's a 2002
So
GTR.
that's late model.
Yeah. And it's a GTR M-Spec NER.
Ooh, you went
So,
hard.
yes, very high-end model. They're asking 75 million yen.
What the heck?
75 million yen.
So what is that? What does that even mean? 75 million yen.
It's a lot. Let me type it into the old...
75 million yen. Like, how do they even talk like that? Like, that's going to be
Oh my
75
God.
million.
Dude, $500,000, dude. 505,000
M-Spec NER.
for an M-Spec NER. Millennium Jade.
That's
Fairly
yeah.
low KMs.
Like I guess.
Whew.
I mean, because
$500,000.
I
Dude.
think that is the going rate for a Millennium Jade.
Oh,
you
yeah.
did pick the cream of the crop, which
Yeah.
for sure, right? Like that's how it is. So 500, dang. Dude. Like so I have a
Insane.
99 GTR V-Spec, okay? This is a July car, so it's coming up on, being able to be shipped.
Yeah.
It has, a bunch of little bits. It looks like it has some lower mileage, but this is from Top Rank in Japan.
Yeah.
And they are asking $152,000 for this V-Spec 99. And generally, their earlier years, because they're closer to importation, are generally a little more expensive.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, $152,000 and then you would need to export this.
Right.
So, you're probably looking at 160, 162, something like that landed. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's also it's kind of one of those things. So, what did you find in the U.S.?
Dude, I couldn't find anything in the States.
You couldn't find anything.
I couldn't find anything. I don't know. I was on Marketplace, and
we are early. Like, we are definitely early, and that's something you also need to understand is, these cars just became eligible for importation literally 32 days ago.
Yeah.
32
plenty
days
of
ago.
GTs out there.
Yeah.
Plenty of GTs, all that.
Because 98 was the first year that they were
Correct.
eligible. So just realize if you're looking in the States, you're probably paying a premium because that person just got it here or was hiding it until it was legal or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I know you can find some in Canada because their import rules 15 years, so it's just a little different. I did find one in the United States on Marketplace, so I am not vouching for this, right? Like, I am not saying that this person is legit or whatever this car is. Like, it looks like a real GTR V-Spec. It looks nice, but I'm simply saying I don't know.
Yeah.
Because Marketplace is kind of wild sometimes. So this guy has a 99 34 GTR V-Spec. So pretty much what we just talked about at Top Rank, right? Yeah. They had it for $152,000. This guy has it in the U.S. already and is asking $285,000. $285,000. It's not really telling me like the kilometers or anything. I mean, it looks clean. It has a Z-Tune hood, whatever. But $285,000, you can go down to Fort Lauderdale right now, grab yourself.
It would be in Florida.
Yeah, of course. But you can grab yourself a 34 GTR. So, I mean, the prices on these things are going to be wild. I'm sure you could find, something. I know Trevor just had something that they had found, and it was like had some rust and needs some love, and I think it was only $80,000.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. I was like, what is wrong with this?
Yeah, it just needs a lot of work.
Yeah, he was very vocal about that, too.
He
wasn't trying to hide nothing.
Yeah, no. And he was willing to work with you to find somebody to do the work in Japan if you wanted. So, I mean, you can find them on the lower end of $100,000, and just you may have to put some love into it. But, I mean, if that's what you can afford for a 34 GTR, run it.
Yeah, I mean, I found another one on GoNet. And, well, first of all, there was only 11 GTRs, R34 GTRs on GoNet. So that can kind of tell you where the market is. Because that's not very many cars at all for the whole entire country of Japan.
Right.
If you look at GTTs or anything like that, it's going to be hundreds of them on there. There's 11 GTRs. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I found another one for 16 million yen, which converts to 109,000, and that was the lowest end. And that was
109.
That was base model. I'm pretty sure it was the 99 or 2000.
Yeah,
it was the first one. So
exactly, you can. They are out there, right? Yeah. I mean, you may have to do a little work. You may have to skip registering and driving it in the country, whatever, right? Like, if you really want it, you can find a way.
Right.
And this was just kind of a little guide to get you started. And if this is something you want, take it from me. go out there, figure it out, get it, because I have zero regrets regardless of how much I paid for the car. Even though that is my personal experience, I don't think that these cars are going to let you down if you feel how we feel about them. Right. So again, do your due diligence always. If you got any questions, you can always hit us up. We'd be glad to guide you in the right direction. That's what we're here for. But for episode 56, how to get your R34 GTR right now, I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
See ya.
Peace.